Indeed, some of those lovely girls are wiser what they believe they can be. And I'm now joined in studio by John Mudhe, who's a board member of Wiser. Thank you, John, for being part of our show today. Karibu sana. So talk to us about Wiser. You can face me, it's all right.
Yes. I joined the Wiser board in late 2012. I just finished business school at Duke. And Duke, together with Johnson & Johnson, Nike Foundation and the like, together with two founders, Andy Cunningham, who is currently a PhD student at Oxford, and Professor Broverman at Duke, had actually started this Women Institute here in Kenya. And they were telling me about it from Durham, North Carolina, and asked whether I would wish to join the initiative, whereby they are working with local communities to empower girls, see how they can transition them from primary school to high school.
Oh, okay, you've talked about helping the local communities and what informed beginning this organization. What are the challenges, and where is this particular school located, the one we've been able to see those girls?
So Wiser Girls is located on the shores of Lake Victoria, a bay called Muhuru. It's a fishing village, about 5,000 people. And despite that half of the population is ladies, the local economy belongs to the men, the fishermen. And for a long time, the girls could not access complete primary school education, let alone high school education. Even the dream of college, it has never happened. And
why is that? Why couldn't they access this?
Well, what happens is that it's a society whereby the ladies are marginalized economically, sometimes also in terms of participation in the decision making in their families. And it's also a society whereby the family prefers to educate the boy, not the girl. The girl could always get married at a very young age, at 14, 15, and the boy could go ahead and complete his primary and high school education. Yes.
Okay, so a lot of that is that the girls are marginalized off of that. Mostly they'll prefer to educate the boys. What are some of the other, from the stories perhaps you've been able to hear from these girls, that, you know, some of them have underwent the experiences?
One of the things, actually, like at least 60% of the girls' population in our school, it has 120 girls currently. You find that one of the things is a high HIV rate, and you find that in this community, about that 7%, local studies indicate that 7% of the population is exposed to HIV, and that means that there is also a high prevalence of either widowhood or the children are orphans. So if I like, out of 120 girls, 15% of the are orphans. If you calculate the ones who are orphan or belong to a single parent situation, it translates to a higher number, about 30%. So if there was a bit of economic power in the family, it's cut by half by the time transitioning to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why is it that the number of HIV, the prevalence there is so high?
It's because of the use of sex as an economic tool, whereby ladies, the fishermen and the like, somehow interact in a way that leads to high prevalence of HIV.
Okay, so it's a social kind of interaction there,
economic,
and the economic challenges that is leading to that. So this was put together. So how do you get guys to enroll the girls? Because clearly it's just a girls' school.
Yes.
So how is it you select who becomes part of it? Are they paying? Who's paying? How does it work?
So when we started, even if it's found in years back, we knew that the local community cannot afford a full boarding, good education and the like. And the other thing that we had a chance to is that Duke University Medical Center, Nike and Johnson & Johnson are willing to put in money for this. And for the founding, about Kenya shilling 200 million was put by those three partners, among others. And what happened is that they came together, both led with community participation in the building and the like, and we ended up with a school which is all-encompassing in terms of the amenities that you require in a great school. But the other thing is that the girls were not transitioning with good marks from primary school, so we had to go to integrate backward into the primary school system. And what happened is that we started a program called Wiser Bridge. Currently serves about 800 students, both boys and girls, across 15 schools, so that we can help them achieve at least a mark. Sometimes may not be the 300, the 400, but a mark that could enable them join Wiser. We are only able to take 30 kids per year, but I can tell you the numbers of those willing to enter WISA are high. I've heard of cases whereby girls have had to repeat in class 8, class 7 so that they get a chance to go to WISA. And for the total cost per annum for each girl is about $2,000, about 160,000 Kenya shilling
per year for each girl.
For each girl,
okay.
Because it's full board accommodation, we pay for the teachers, and the area is so marginalized that if you're to go there, if you want to hire the best, sometimes you have to offer the best package in the market. Yeah.
All right, so you pay for everything for each of these girls.
Yes.
And you say that what you've done to ensure that you also just encouraging that excellence and hard work for the girls is have this bridging so that in primary school as they go to their KCPE, then they're working hard. So what's the cutoff mark? And what are some of those considerations for one to be part of WISA?
So when WISA was started, one of the things that we saw is that these girls are not even attaining 300, and the initial class, the one that graduated, finished KCSE last year, and they are expecting results in a couple of weeks. We even had a case study whereby 3 girls with like 200 marks were taken in, and you'll be excited to hear that actually they're expecting about a B grade. So the first thing is that by removing the barriers to excellence that they had faced in primary school, giving them a comfortable place to learn, to engage with other peers in an equal manner, is showing that you can bring them from 200, to actually people who can get a university grade. And also our commitment to mentor them. Every year we have Johnson & Johnson senior management come and actually teach them even like entrepreneurial skills. We believe that the future of that community can be changed by these girls.
All right, so other than the grades you said, what else? What's the criteria?
The criteria, as I could see, it is one whereby without WISA intervention, they would actually not transition to high school. That's the number one criteria.
So what do you look for? You look
so
for
you're looking for, most of them have a criteria that their background, either there is a father or a mother who is not present, and sometimes actually they could be present but they cannot afford, meaning that the girl is either seeking early marriage or seeking to work as a fishmonger at the beach. The beach actually is like 2 minutes from the school. And the other criteria is that they have no other alternative other than WISA. It's a criteria that has actually given us the poorest, the most vulnerable in this society. It's a story of AIDS, HIV/AIDS, poverty, early and forced marriage. So those are the kind of girls you have in WISA. But we transition them to people who are courageous, who have self-confidence by the end of the 4 years.
And you said the first class to graduate, that happened last year?
The graduation is happening on March the 7th after KCSE results. And we expect that this class, because in Migori sub-county, they were they would be 4th to 6th best school in the whole region, and we expect them to get at least an average of their B.
Okay, so after they're done, that's it? Is that where your interaction with them comes to an end?
No, you realize that the same people who couldn't afford a high school, actually, they become more vulnerable after high school. And all the good work you may have done may actually be undone in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months. People might transition to early marriages and the like. So what we have done is that we are running a program whereby we are transitioning them to college. So we are committed that they'll finish college, whether it's university, whether it's in Kenya or abroad. We're committed that those ones who don't have a university grade will transition to mid-level colleges and start a diploma and later on transition to degrees. We're committed that even for those who get the lower grades, we transition into some vocational training.
And when you say committed, do you mean you're paying for their college as well? So you've got them covered as well for everything?
Yes, us and our partners. Just like we have worked through WISA Bridge, through WISA School, we're committed to affording them a college education.
All right. So what's the population now? How many girls do you have in WISA?
We have 120. We have the capacity to go all the way to about 150 in a couple of years. And right now, actually, we're just talking to partners, both Kenyan organizations who believe in now girls' empowerment, and also international one, on what can we do to enable more girls access WISA. And also we have a situation whereby some boys in the WISA Bridge program pass well. So like right now we have about 15 of them who are on WISA scholarship to attend the local high school, like Kanga boys, Rogo boys, and the like. They did not, they can't join WISA.
Yeah, it's girls.
But there's this thing about, you don't want to alienate the boys from the girls.
Yeah.
You want to also create opportunities for the boys. And so the WISA Bridge program also affords scholarship to boys who have passed very well. Some of them get 400, and we're expecting also A's from the class that did KCC last year.
All right, so this is in Nyanza, the WISA school.
Yes.
What is the plan? Are you talking about moving elsewhere in the country?
Yes,
because, I mean, this is a need that you'll find in many parts of the country.
Yes, in fact, WISA, when you look at the Women's Institute for Science Education and Research, it's first of all creating a model. Like now the model has reached Form 4. And how do we replicate it in a manner that we already know the system and processes that work? And there are such similar places. You can imagine the urban poor, the rural poor, and the like. They experience similar challenges. Yes. So how do you transplant our lessons, our experiences in Migori to other places? And how do you also get more partners? Like, we're grateful, like they say, Ugandan-based NGO partner, Segal Family Foundation.
Right.
We're grateful for Nike and Johnson & Johnson and Duke University Medical Center. And how do we get more partners so that we can transition the same model to other regions?
To other regions.
Yes.
All right, and the name Women Institute for Science, Education and Research, what informed that? Why have, science there and research in it as well?
I sit on the board, and 2 other colleagues are professors. And one of the other one is also a managing director with one of J&J divisions in the US. And I always say, do we require that you should be a professor to be on this board? And what we are seeing is that we do a lot of research, either in partnership with UNICEF. And I could tell you, like, when WISE was founded, there was no clean water. And so partnering with the MOH, Ministry of Health, and also UNICEF, we piped water. And now we are seeing, by piping water to all the local health trading centers, about 15 of them, from the WISA school. The pump is at the school. And then we pump to these 15 trading centers. And the girls who are in WISA Bridge, they would have walked so far to the lake to get clean water. Why make sure that they don't walk? And if they do, they are walking to get clean water. So we are doing research on that. The other thing is that we're also doing research on schools. If you help schools set up gardens, small gardens that they can irrigate, does it mean the schools now have access to vegetables and the like, and they supplement their meals with something nutritious and the like? So we do a lot of research.
And speaking of just the education system, what you're teaching in this in the WISA school, is it the same as what we're seeing in the normal ordinary Kenyan curriculum, or is there something tailored made specially? Because the curriculum in itself has its own shortcomings and has been criticized for just bringing out and churning out students and people that are all about getting that A, that B, but in terms of an all-rounded person, that is lacking. So what is it, if at all, any measures you've put in place to ensure?
What we've done is that we know the KCC curricula and what it delivers to our pupils, but we have intercalated with these other lessons. These are girls whose confidence was not at its best when they were joining WISA. How do you work with them to boost this? These are girls, you can imagine joining a high school, you're being given an opportunity, you've been told you can get an A, but you join with 200. And you can imagine that there is a lot of mentorship that goes on. These are girls who come from a background where there was disease and poverty, and how do you also maybe make sure that you attend to their health, that term to term you do health screening for those ones that require medical care, you attend to it. So you have to intercalate it with other things, mentorship, health, and then also there is financial and entrepreneurship training. I dedicated about time last year when some management members from Johnson & Johnson came and took these girls through entrepreneurship training. Because when they go home, they meet their mothers, they meet their fathers, and how can they deliver some of the skills they learn to their folks back at home. Yes.
All right. And in terms of the community, so you're focusing on the girls, you're bringing out an empowered group of people, but those cultural practices that had put them in that predicament before continue in the society. So is there any program, are there any conversations happening with the community as well to ensure that you're not winning on one end but still losing on the other, so you have a wholesome sort of like solution to the problem?
Yeah, that's very important, because you only got one girl to WISER, but the family may have like 4 other girls. And when you look at an extended, you can imagine the number of ladies who belong to an extended family.
Right.
And so what we do is bi-directional, that yes, we'll mentor and empower this one lady, but when are we able to host community events whereby we're able to talk with the parents, with the guardians, and ask them what other challenges does this girl have at home, and what else could we do for even the girls who are, how can we empower them? How can we use the one who we have mentored to be a champion for women empowerment in the society? And we also ask the parents and guardians, yes, we understand we're taking care of full board, uniform, tuition,
right,
sanitary pads and the like. But how do we, as WISER, partner with you? And I could give you an example. Sometime last year, the parents and guardians contributed and bought prizes for the best performing girls. And you can see they don't have much, but the little they have, they're willing to pull it to motivate their daughters.
Right. As we bring this to a close, for somebody watching and they'd like to be part of what it is you're doing over at WISER, how do they get involved? Sure.
Our website, wisergirls.org, and we have the details there on how to partner with us, because we look forward to partnering with corporate organizations, just like we're partnering with the government and other like-minded partners elsewhere.
Okay, so you're working with the government as well?
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because the lessons learned in WISER could be taken also to other local high schools.
Okay, thank you very much, John Muthe. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Making time to come and talk to us about WISER, board member, Women Institute for Science, Education and Research. And it was just amazing to hear, you know, some of those things the girls had to say, because that just goes to show you, with them, despite the challenges, there's been some transition, there's been a shift, and we wish you the best. And we hope we'll see more of WISER around the country.
Yes.
Yeah.